Hi everyone, this is Tina at Dirt Therapy, and it's pretty exciting. Today I have a group of gardeners from a garden club in Blair, Nebraska, I think Fort Calhoun area, and they are coming down to see my garden. So I'm really excited. I'm hoping that I can get you guys a little bit of footage of the walkthrough, but I just want to let you know if they're not comfortable with it, I'm not going to film it, but I will just give you an update afterwards. Well, I wasn't able to get video of the garden tour this morning. It wasn't that I couldn't film it, it was just that we were having such a wonderful time that I didn't want to bring my phone out. I know you probably all can understand that sometimes being in the garden means like tuning out all the electronics and just being outside. And these were people that I haven't known. They were coming to visit my beautiful garden. And you know, when you have those opportunities to meet people who have the same things in common as you, I always want to be in the moment and enjoy it. So I was really happy that they had a great time and really appreciated my garden. And you know, that's really what it's all about. I do this for me. I don't do this for anybody, but knowing that it brings smiles to other people's faces just makes it all worthwhile, that it isn't just me that gets to enjoy the garden. So let me just turn the camera around real quick. It is very hot and sunny out here today, high of 95 with the humidity level of 90%. So it is not a pleasant day, and I am really glad that we were able to get the garden tour done before it got really hot. Like now I'm in my shade of my east side. But let me turn the camera around and show you what everybody saw. And I just wanted to show you what it's starting to look like. Now you will see a little bit of hail damage. We had golf ball size hail last night. Go figure, right before I'm going to do the garden tour. But it doesn't look like there is much damage except to the hostas, and as we know that they can just tear through those leaves very easily. But I wanted to start in a place where I usually don't start. This is in our front yard flower bed, and we've got several flower beds over here. And this little the quick fire is so pretty. This is its second year in this spot, and as they age they turn to a pink color, and it's just going to be a gorgeous setting right here. Behind it you see the Instant Karma elderberry, and this is going to get really big. I mean, eventually I'm not going to be able to have my little statue here, and I may have to move some things out, but I am really going to keep it kind of contained and kind of keep the bottom clean. That way I don't have to, but I really want the growth towards the top to kind of hide the pipes there. So I am going to be just taking it differently, a different direction, just to hide that information, to hide that pipe. Then I've got a hibiscus here, and kind of explain, I have about 8 or 9 hibiscus in this area. And the reason why I've done that is because this is a high moisture area. All of the storm water that comes off of our neighbor's home comes straight into these tubes here. And I wanted something that would be able to accommodate the extra water that is going to be in this area, and hibiscus are the perfect plant to put in this type of area. So I've got several of those in this area as well. And then I have this cute little lavender here. I did have 2, but one of them died, but it still looks so cute. I didn't think that this one was going to even come back. The irises are done, and I need to come out and cut them all back, but I just haven't had time yet. We've been dealing with some other projects that we've been working on, also with weather. I just haven't been able to take care of everything that I've needed to. This is a type of lily, and it's getting ready to bloom. I'm so excited. It's a beautiful yellow color. And then I have another hydrangea back in this section here. And I think it's a little lime. So in the next section, we have another hibiscus and peonies. That one's a really newer peony for this section, and they usually take a couple years before the blooms come. And you can see it's really kind of a small one. So I'm just going to give it a little bit more time. We've got some other lilies and I don't even know how to say it, like Drutzia, right here in this section here, right underneath my cherry plum. And I just love how it's a multi-trunk. It did also get ripped up by the hail, as you can see. But, you know, everything looks pretty good. I mean, a little hail damage. I'm not too worried about that, but it was definitely a scary moment last night when we had golf ball size hail coming down. Here is my patch of Serendipity Allium. And the wonderful thing about this is that I bought like 2 of the larger pots of these, and I was able to divide them right away into 5 pieces. So, I mean, and this was last year, and look at how big they are. I mean, they're huge. And they do have some buds coming up for the flowers. Another hibiscus, and then I'm gonna plant some irises behind here, a different color iris. These are a lavender color. I just haven't been able to get to that as well, like name of the game. I have a Tough Stuff hydrangea here in the front. I had 2 of them, but the other one didn't make it. But I'm glad to see that this one is. Another peony. I just have to come back and clean it up along with irises. These are peach irises, and they are just gorgeous in the bloom time. In fact, you might have seen them in my mid-May video of what they look like, and it's just wonderful. Behind there is my Green Mountain, and I really need to come and like give it a haircut because it's getting a little bit like scraggly, so I just need to come in and clean that up. Another hibiscus, like I had mentioned, I do have a ginger plant, and I haven't had a chance to put it in an actual pot, so I've just been leaving it in its original container, and I will get to it soon, I hope. But you know, life is crazy. I have an ornamental grass towards the back along with a hibiscus. And then up front is our Brunnera. It's pretty much a good showstopper anytime. So when you kind of just come back, even when there's no color going on, that is just striking. Some more irises. And here is another one of my hydrangeas. This is a Firelight. I'm really excited to see what this one does. It's new as well. So a lot of this garden is a newer garden. So there's some things that I don't know how it's performing yet in my garden. So we'll have to take another update. So here is a continuation of the other garden bed. Those are my Globemaster Alliums. Those ones got planted later in the spring. So that's the reason why we still have some color on those. I have some lavender planted in that pot towards the back. And then my hosta is starting to get its blooms. I did transplant this piece from another flower bed, and that's the reason why its size is on the smaller size. Then I've got my tater tot right here in the front. I've got a bunch of salvia, coral bells heuchera here. This one is the mahogany monster. And then I have another hydrangea here, and I have forgotten the name. I think it is the same. It might be the Quickfire. It could be the Firelight, so I don't know. I'm really bad at putting labels on. I really need to do that. And then this is one of the Summerific. I think it's the Candy Crush ones, but it's gotten huge already. I can't believe it, how big it's gotten. And then the tree back there is one of the Fine Line Buckhorns. This one is the improved variety, but I do have some other of the buckthorns in the back, which are doing fabulous. So I don't really know the difference between the two, but we've got some more hostas in this section, and our Japanese maple. This is a blood good. I'll back up a little bit. We've been having some fountain issues, so we took off the top tier until we could get a bigger hose, and so it's not running perfectly right now, but I've still kind of just let it go. I think it looks pretty even on without one tier up removed. The lavender flanking each side, and then I'll take you back over here. This is got a little bit of sun this morning, so I've got some of the I'm gonna kind of think might skip that because you can't really see it, but we have our endless summer hydrangea here and another hosta and lilies, but I'm gonna move you down a little bit where the shade is at. We've got several of the coral bells there, and look, you can see the damage that the hail came through and just tore through the leaves. Not much we can do about weather. Then it's just kind of a menagerie here of different things, from ornamental grasses to my Bobo hydrangea, which is the tallest thing that you see. The irises are already spent, and we've got some heucheras, and I really do need to come in here and weed this. I just haven't had a chance. But right now, this is what's really shining. It's the Sweet Summer Love clematis, and it's starting to bloom, and it has a whole bunch of buds all over it. The one thing is that it's bloomed quite a bit earlier than it normally does. Usually it's not until like maybe midsummer that it's blooming, but right now it's been so abnormally mild and warm in our area that I think it just thrived and it was ready to bloom early. Over here we've got the salvia and a Caryopteris. I transplanted this from a different area, and wow, it's really doing really great. I got the blue muffin here, and I shouldn't forget to look at our grapevines. They're doing really wonderful. In fact, we're starting to get some real good growth on here. And knock on wood, I haven't seen any bugs. At least not yet, knock on wood. Don't want those, don't want the bugs to eat it. I just planted this Julia Childs rose, and it's not looking the greatest. I think it's gotten a little bit too much water, but it's just because of, I planted it and watered it in really good, and then we had rain and hail, so I think it's just not looking the greatest right now, but I'm gonna go in there and just clean it up, and but it does have some new buds on it, so I'm not super worried about it. There's a lot of little blooms on here. I just want to come and clean it up and make it a little happier. And then I have a Mandevilla vine over there that I would like it to climb up onto the fence. Okay, the purple fountain grass. And then one thing that always gets hidden back here is I have another one of those endless summer hydrangeas, and it is starting to bloom. The other one, I don't know, it hasn't been blooming in the last couple of years, so I need to research why it's not blooming. But now if you look at the garden here, when we had the mid-May tour, there was a lot of pinks and purples. You didn't see a lot of the yellows yet because it wasn't their time yet. But as you look around now, you're seeing that the color landscape has changed quite dramatically, from the pink of the Spirit 2 hydrangea to all of the Coreopsis, and then the bloom heads on the oak leaf hydrangea. Oh my gosh, guys, look at how big that is. I mean, I can't even fit it in my hand. I need like a couple hands, my husband's hands, to do that. So yeah, I'm just, I don't know why it's flopping so much, probably because the weight of it and the storm. So I might have to do something about pinning it up. But I don't know. I've been trying to kind of like prop it up a little bit, but we'll see. I don't know how you're supposed to treat them. See, I'm a gardener that is learning as I go as well. I do not pretend to be an expert. Then I've got some salvias here. The baptisia is done and taken over by bindweed, the bane of my existence. I got to figure out how to eradicate it. It's going everywhere. But you know, there's only so much you can do. The pink, that is the anise hyssop or agastache, and it gets much bigger than this. It gets to be about 5 feet tall here, and once it starts blooming, my goodness, the bees and butterflies and everything are all over it. Here is probably the most colorful section of the garden, and we've got the salvia, and the lo and behold buddleia is starting to bloom. I had to shore this one all the way down to some of the new growth, and it looks wonderful. It's doing much better. This is a compact variety, so it should stay pretty small. The little Henry sweet spires, they are just about done, but when they first start blooming, they smell so good. I've got a lot of Chinese asters towards the back and some ornamental grasses, and then I've got the limelight hydrangea back there, which also makes way for all of the salvia and the nepeta in here, and irises. And since they've already been spent, I'm going to kind of turn over this direction, as we can talk about here. The Globe Masters are done for the season, so I'm going to be cutting them down here pretty soon. But that makes way for the pinky leafy hydrangea tree, and it is really put on a lot of growth. But I didn't expect it. I come back in the spring, and once I look for the nodes, I really kind of short back to try to keep it in check. But this branch here is kind of stuck out a little bit. I might have to do a little bit more pruning next year to kind of like have it more upright, because that one seems like it's kind of weighing it frontwards, and I don't want it to do that. And we've got the heucheras here. They're still going strong with the color. In fact, in the mid-May tour, it also was doing just what it's doing now. So it's really long-lasting color here. I still haven't been able to plant up my plant yet. This is the Little Devil 9-bark. And in the mid-May tour, you saw it was filled with flowers, and they have since been spent. I have a couple of rosemaries, the edible rosemary, where I can just come out and trim it off whenever I need it. Smells so good. Got the ornamental peach tree, and so here's the nepeta. Yeah, it does have a little bit of weeds in there, but I am doing all of the weeding all by myself in my garden. I have 145 feet by 7 feet wide flower beds. This isn't the only place that I have to weed. I also have to weed this other side, and the east garden, which was the pergola garden. I've also have to do the secret garden and the putting green and the courtyard if there's any weeds that pop up there. There's just a lot of area, including my veggie garden. I have to weed the veggie beds as well. So I don't have time for every single weed every time I go out in the garden. So you're gonna see weeds, and you know, it's kind of that life when you work a regular job and then you garden. You can't do it all. The coreopsis, I really love this coreopsis. It's so cute, and it's really kind of sprinkled through my whole garden. It just is a happy, very happy plant. I got the yarrow. I don't like how they flop over, but I live with it. And this is the plum dandy, and it gets to be about 18 to 20 inches tall and wide and is a mound. So that's why I only planted one in here. And if you look at the video, a couple videos ago when I was showing this off, you'll see the substantial growth in it since the last time. We've got the Back to the Fuchsia salvias and some more coreopsis. We've got the Rise Up Days climbing roses, and they are so dainty and adorable. I've got the dogwood, more coreopsis, along with my knockout roses. They're not knocking it out of the park right now. I need to come in and deadhead them. This is the one thing that is a drawback with these roses, is that they need to be deadheaded because they look terrible after. So, you know, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but they're beautiful when they're blooming. As you can see, they're just gorgeous when they're blooming, but they're not the prettiest once they need to be deadheaded. I just planted these White Castle Veronicas here when I took out the yarrow, and it helped the lavender that was in this area as well. These are the String Theory Insomnia, and they are since done. They have blue flowers on them in early spring, and they're absolutely beautiful. We've got another one of the Summerific series hibiscus here. And I always forget what colors each one of them are, so I apologize for that. But if you look at this color combination of the lemony lace elderberry and the hibiscus, it is just so beautiful. Here is it's called the Temple of Bloom tree. And I have gone in, and like, it's a multi-trunk tree, and I've gone in and cleaned it up to really kind of make it feel like it's a multi-trunk tree. But it looks like it's getting ready to start really popping up some colors, and they will grow bigger and bigger and bigger as the years go by. I think it's going to be about 15 to 20 feet tall. I can't remember exactly. I have popped it up on the screen if I can find the information on it, but they come out with these really pink flowers, and they're just beautiful in the summertime. I have a swoop of the echinaceas, the black-eyed Susans, so that color will be here soon. I have some milkweed mixed in, some more Chinese aster and some Russian sage back there, and in that basket back there I have some sedum, more irises and yarrow, and then the Stella de Rosa lilies, along with some purple salvia and another hibiscus with the lilies. This is where it gets kind of ugly because everything flopped from storms. So we've got the penstemon and the pink yarrow that are kind of squished, and I may just come in here and clean those up fairly soon. Here is another one of our limelight hydrangeas. And we have lilies, and the Zagreb coreopsis is getting ready to bloom. I transplanted some cosmos in this area to kind of give it a little bit more yellow color in this area that I didn't have anything. And then in here, I've got some of the Asiatic lilies, whereas these irises are spent. And I mean, you can see it's been very muggy and awful here, wet, and our peonies usually get some kind of powdery mildew, like every time after bloom time. So they look great for a while. And that's why I'm not such a huge fan of peonies, is because they're not the prettiest things after the cycle's already done. These are a type of Agastache, a spring blooming one, and they are still holding on. I think that's great. I have my mock orange back there with the white color, and the Boswell roses are also looking spent, so I need to get in there. I think that I really need to kind of thin out this area. It seems like things are not getting proper airflow, so I'm going to have to do some readjusting in this area here. I've got another one of the yellow, like black-eyed Susan type variety, and then some more lilies, my blue spruce tree, my weeping. I got some Agastache, this summer blooming kind, the anise hyssop one, and then I've got some salvia and coral bells in the bottom here. So that is all of the colors that I have going on right now. I think it is beautiful. The Above and Beyond roses are done for the season. But one thing that is doing really well is the Vanderwolf pine is doing great. We had some tree damage from our neighbor's tree. It came down on our fence, and so some of this area still has to be managed just because we haven't been able to fix all of the tree damage. But the Vanderwolf pine, oh my gosh, it's so pretty and it's so soft. This makes it all worthwhile back here. And then we've got the I have a little juniper here and the forsythia. I'm going to take the forsythia out. I don't like it. I have tried to like it. I've transplanted multiple places and it's just not working out. And the rest needs to be cut out. I have to come in. They're weeds that grew really, really fast and tall, and I need to get in there and be able to cut those down. Up here is our pumpkin patch that we just built for our grandson. And I'm going to take you back this way. So the putting green just received a refresh. There's still a little bit of mulch that has to be done, but I just haven't had a chance to fill the whole thing yet. But it's looking really good, and I mulched both of the trees and around the boxwood hedge. I still have a little bit more I want to add to the hedge there, but it's looking really good. And then my husband and I did the courtyard after he did the fence. So he just finished the fence probably about 2 weeks ago, roughly, maybe even less than 2 weeks. And then we had to wait to do the mulch until he was done with that. So it's looking really good. And then here's my secret garden with the clematis going up on either side. And it looks like I'm gonna have blooms for the first time. I always plant cherry tomatoes in here because my grandson absolutely loves cherry tomatoes, and he's big enough to pick them himself. So he watches for when they're red and he picks them, and he just takes the top right off and eats them. But I needed to put something in here to detract from, to keep the animals from getting in there and eating everything, because something was getting in there and eating the top off of the tomato, and then I had to replace it with a new tomato plant. And luckily I have a bunch of tomato plants, like volunteers, so I just went ahead and put it in there. But here's what I was talking about, the blooms. It looks like I'm getting blooms on my clematis for the first year. This is been here for a couple years, and it just hasn't been that happy. Like, it's been happy. It's showed a lot of green, but it hasn't bloomed. And so it'll be nice to have it blooming for the first time this year. I just need to train it back up. We also have something that keeps coming in here. We have a raccoon that keeps coming in here. We can tell by certain signs, and you know, I don't know how to eradicate that problem, but that is one of our biggest pests that we have in the garden. Here's another cherry tomato, so both of them are flanking the inside. And then we have our bird Fi camera where we can watch our birds eat. And then we have our arborvitaes that are working on making this a privacy hedge. We had a couple die over here on this section, and that's the reason why we haven't been able to fill it. I'm thinking about getting another tree for this section here, at least make the front look uniform. And then we'll figure out another privacy garden hedge that can go where the sofa is and where the other side of the bistro set is. Well, I am going to call it today, just because it's going to be 90 degrees again, 95. I have a garden project that I have to do before it gets too bad, but I'll leave it at these Zephyrin Truin roses. Aren't they gorgeous? Thornless variety, and this is the first year they put on such a wonderful show. I mean, they've bloomed before, but this has really been their stunner year. So thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time, and I hope you have a great garden day.